Picture this, the year is 1838, and the first photograph of a human being is about to be taken. It was an era of innovation, where the world was just beginning to appreciate the magic of capturing moments in time through the lens of a camera. The art of photography was still in its infancy, and photographs required long exposure times to capture an image. Now, imagine a bustling city street filled with carriages, pedestrians, and vendors, all moving too quickly to be captured by the sluggish technology of the day. The photographer, Louis Daguerre, was testing his new invention, the daguerreotype, and had set up his camera on a busy Parisian boulevard. He was hoping to capture the hustle and bustle of the city, but due to the long exposure time, all the moving traffic simply disappeared from the final image. In this seemingly empty cityscape, one figure stood out. A man, oblivious to the technological marvel happening around him, was standing still, getting his shoes polished. He had no idea that his mundane act of self-maintenance would immortalize him in history. Unbeknownst to him, he was in the process of becoming the first human being ever to be photographed. He stood there, his foot propped up on the shoe shiner's stand, unaware that his image was being etched onto a metal plate by the daguerreotype. The shoe shiner, too, busy in his craft, was oblivious to the fact that he was playing a part in a historical moment. As the exposure time passed and the image was finally captured, Daguerre must have been surprised. The bustling city street he hoped to capture was eerily empty, save for one man and his shoe shiner. But in that surprise lay a moment of realization. He had inadvertently captured the first photograph of a human being. And that's how a man, just getting his shoes polished, became the first human ever captured in a photograph. His identity remains unknown, yet his image has been etched into the annals of history, a testament to the serendipity of innovation and the birth of photography. Fast forward to 1986, a date etched in history due to one of the most catastrophic nuclear disasters. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant, situated near the city of Pripyat, Ukraine, was the scene of a grave incident that would send shockwaves across the globe. A routine safety test designed to simulate a power outage spiraled out of control, leading to an explosion and fire in the plant's fourth reactor. What went wrong? A lethal cocktail of design flaws and operator errors. The reactor, of a type known as RBMK, was inherently unstable at low power. On the fateful night of April 26th, the power levels dropped to a dangerously low level. As the operators scrambled to increase power, a deadly surge occurred. The reactor's design exacerbated the situation. A large amount of energy was suddenly released, causing an explosion that blew the 1,000-ton cover off the reactor. This was immediately followed by a second explosion caused by the ignition of released hydrogen, which tore apart the reactor building and spewed a cloud of radioactive particles into the atmosphere. The aftermath was devastating. The immediate vicinity was blanketed with radioactive debris, leading to the creation of the infamous exclusion zone, an area spanning 30 kilometers in all directions from the reactor, deemed too dangerous for human habitation. The cleanup operation, involving over 500,000 workers, was a mammoth task that took 7 months to complete. The human cost was staggering. 2 plant workers died on the night of the explosion, and 28 more succumbed to acute radiation sickness in the following weeks. But the long-term effects were even more profound. Thousands of cases of thyroid cancer have been attributed to radioactive fallout, particularly among those who were children at the time of the disaster. Chernobyl served as a wake-up call to the global community. It highlighted the need for stringent safety measures and transparency in the nuclear industry. The disaster led to sweeping changes in safety culture and in the design of nuclear reactors. Yet even as we've learned from the past, the ghost town of Pripyat stands as a chilling testament to the disaster. The abandoned Ferris wheel, the desolate buildings, and the overgrown streets are stark reminders of the lives disrupted, the dreams shattered, and the environment scarred. A stark reminder of the potential dangers of nuclear power, the Chernobyl disaster still echoes in our memories. Now, let's delve into the depths of the ocean to meet the creature with the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Imagine a world shrouded in darkness, so deep beneath the surface of the sea that sunlight dares not penetrate. Here in the icy cold, a creature lurks that is as fascinating as it is formidable: the colossal squid. This enigmatic entity is no ordinary squid. It's a behemoth of the deep, cloaked in mystery and darkness. This creature has adopted an extraordinary feature to navigate its lightless world: eyes that are unparalleled in size. Yes, the colossal squid is the proud owner of the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. These eyes, measuring up to 27 centimeters, that's 11 inches in diameter, are not just remarkable for their size. They are finely tuned instruments of survival. In a world where light is scarce, these enormous eyes act as powerful searchlights, capable of detecting the faintest glimmers in the dark abyss. The colossal squid's eyes are not only its headlights, but also its early warning system. Any movement, however slight or distant, is caught in its gaze, alerting the squid to potential predators or prey. These eyes, then, are not merely large, they are a testament to evolutionary ingenuity, a perfect adaptation to the extreme environment of the deep sea. Yet, despite their size, the eyes of the colossal squid are surprisingly delicate. They are encased in a hard, transparent dome that protects them from the crushing pressures of the deep. This dome is a marvel of nature's engineering, a testament to the adaptability and resilience of life in the harshest of conditions. This is the colossal squid, a creature that has embraced the darkness and turned it into its domain. It's a testament to the wonders of evolution, to the incredible diversity of life on our planet. The colossal squid, a true marvel of the deep, holding the title for the biggest eyes in the animal kingdom. In 1518, dancing became not just an act of joy, but a deadly epidemic. Our story begins in the city of Strasbourg, where a woman known as Frau Trophäa stepped into the street and started to dance. Nothing about this would seem unusual, except for the fact that she didn't stop. Day and night, Frau Trophäa danced, seemingly unable to control her own movements. The residents of Strasbourg watched in bewilderment as Trophäa's dance continued for days on end. But the spectacle didn't end there. Within a week, 34 others had joined her, their bodies swaying and jerking in an uncontrollable dance. And within a month, the number had swelled to around 400. The authorities were baffled. Physicians were called in, but they couldn't find any medical explanation for the phenomenon. They concluded that it was a case of hot blood and that the only cure was more dancing. A stage was set up, and musicians were brought in to keep the dancers moving in the hope that they would eventually tire themselves out. But the plan backfired. The continuous frenetic dancing took a severe toll on the dancers' bodies. Many collapsed from exhaustion, others died from strokes and heart attacks. The dancing plague, as it came to be known, was not a joyful spectacle, but a deadly epidemic. So what caused this bizarre event? Theories abound, but the most widely accepted one points to mass hysteria, a form of groupthink where people in a community start to believe in and act out a shared delusion. In this case, the delusion was an uncontrollable urge to dance. Interestingly, the dancing plague of 1518 wasn't an isolated incident. Similar outbreaks occurred throughout the Middle Ages, often during times of extreme stress and hardship. People living in these times were no strangers to famine, disease, and the ever-present threat of a war. The dancing plague, some historians suggest, might have been a psychological response to these extreme conditions. Yet, despite all the theories, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most puzzling mysteries. It serves as a stark reminder of the power of the human mind and the fine line that separates joy from despair, sanity from madness, life from death. The dancing plague of 1518, a chilling reminder of how hysteria can lead to tragic consequences. The vending machine, a convenience we take for granted, has a history dating back to the 1st century AD. In the bustling, vibrant city of Alexandria, a Greek engineer named Hero was about to make history. Now, when we think of vending machines, we conjure up images of brightly lit boxes filled with snacks, drinks, and sometimes even electronics. But the first vending machine dispensed something entirely different. Hero of Alexandria was a man ahead of his time, a true innovator who used his knowledge of physics and mechanics to create something truly unique. His invention was a simple yet ingenious contraption. It was not designed for dispensing candy bars or soda, but rather, it was designed for a more spiritual purpose. This vending machine dispensed holy water. In the temples of ancient Alexandria, worshippers would deposit a coin into the machine. The weight of the coin would trigger a mechanism, and out would flow a measured amount of holy water. This ensured that the holy water was distributed fairly and without favoritism. And it also prevented temple-goers from taking more than their fair share. Hero's invention was the first known example of a fully automated vending system. It was a machine that worked without the need for human intervention, a concept that was truly revolutionary at the time. This invention, as simple as it may seem to us today, set the stage for the development of modern vending machines. It opened up a world of possibilities, showing that machines could be used to automate everyday tasks, making life easier and more efficient. Fast forward to the present day, and we see vending machines everywhere, dispensing everything from snacks and drinks to books and electronics. They are a part of our everyday lives, a convenience that we often take for granted. But every time we insert a coin or a card into a vending machine, we are participating in a tradition that goes back over 2,000 years. From holy water to soda cans, the vending machine sure has come a long way. Wars have been known to last for years, but did you know about the war that lasted less than an hour? Picture this. It's the 27th of August, 1896. The British Empire is at the height of its power and has its sights set on the East African island of Zanzibar. The Sultan of Zanzibar, Hamad bin Thuwaini, has died mysteriously, and his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash, has taken the throne without British approval. This is a clear violation of a treaty signed between Britain and Zanzibar only a decade earlier, which gave the British the right to approve the Sultan's successor. The British, not too pleased with this turn of events, demand that Khalid step down. But Khalid is not about to give up his new throne that easily. He barricades himself in the palace with his armed forces, and the stage is set for a showdown. But this is no ordinary showdown. The British Empire has brought in 5 warships, and they're not afraid to use them. At exactly 9 o'clock in the morning, the British issue an ultimatum to Khalid: step down or face the consequences. Khalid, perhaps underestimating the British resolve, refuses. And then at 9:02, the British open fire. The Sultan's palace is bombarded. The bombardment is so intense that by 9:40, the palace is on fire, and Khalid's flag has been shot down. The war is over. In just 38 minutes, the British have flexed their imperial muscle. Khalid has been driven into hiding, and the shortest war in history has been waged and won. A war that started over a throne dispute, escalated with an ultimatum, and ended with an overwhelming display of firepower. A war that was over almost as soon as it began. A war so brief, it's easy to miss in the history books. Yet, it's a story that speaks volumes about power, ambition, and the lengths nations will go to maintain control. 38 minutes, a blink in the annals of time, marking the shortest war in history. 1830, a year that witnessed the end of an era and the beginning of another. Let's transport ourselves to France in the early 19th century, a time when the infamous guillotine, a symbol of the French Revolution, was still in use. The guillotine, known for its efficiency and supposed painless execution, had been a mainstay of French justice since its first use in 1792. Its reign, however, was coming to an end. In 1830, the guillotine was used for the last time in France, marking the end of a gruesome chapter in French history. The guillotine, with its descending blade and swift justice, was a chilling reminder of the Reign of Terror. Its retirement was perhaps a sign of changing times, a shift towards more humane methods of punishment. But as the guillotine was making its final bow in France across the Atlantic, the United States was ushering in a new era of transportation. In the same year, 1830, the first locomotive built in the United States made its inaugural trip. This was not just any locomotive. This was the Tom Thumb, a steam-powered mechanical marvel that signaled the dawn of a new age. Built by Peter Cooper, this machine was no larger than a modern SUV, but packed a punch that was set to revolutionize the way people and goods moved across the vast American landscape. The Tom Thumb raced a horse-drawn carriage in a famous event, and despite losing due to a mechanical failure, it demonstrated the potential of steam-powered locomotion. This event marked a significant shift, not just in transportation, but in the trajectory of industrial progress. It was a glimpse into the future, a future driven by the power of steam and steel. So, in the year 1830, we see a stark contrast of progress and change. In France, the guillotine, a symbol of a bloody past, was seeing its last days. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Tom Thumb was chugging along, paving the way for a new era of technological advancement and industrial growth. Two different worlds, two different paths, yet both marked by significant events that would shape their respective futures. The guillotine and the locomotive, two icons of their time, standing at the crossroads of history. One era ends, another begins, such is the march of progress. In the 19th century, a deadly poison was considered a health tonic. The irony of it all, the substance in question is arsenic, a naturally occurring chemical element that is notoriously poisonous. Yet in the 1800s, arsenic was not feared, but rather embraced as a health tonic. Arsenic has been known since ancient times, but it was in the 19th century that its use as a health tonic became widespread. It was believed to have rejuvenating properties, promising to improve skin complexion, aid in digestion, and even cure certain diseases. It was sold in various forms, from powders to pills, and was consumed by both men and women, young and old. This belief in the health benefits of arsenic was not entirely unfounded. Arsenic does have medicinal properties. In small doses, it can stimulate the body's natural healing processes. However, the line between a beneficial dose and a toxic one is incredibly thin. The misconceptions surrounding arsenic's supposed health benefits was largely due to a lack of understanding about its toxicity. The symptoms of arsenic poisoning, such as stomach pain, nausea, and diarrhea, can mimic other ailments, making it difficult to pinpoint arsenic as the culprit. Chronic exposure can lead to more severe health problems like skin lesions, cancer, and ultimately death. It wasn't until later that the deadly effects of arsenic were fully understood. As scientific knowledge advanced, the dangers of arsenic became clear. Its use as a health tonic dwindled, and it was eventually recognized as the potent toxin it truly is. Today, arsenic is known for its use in pesticides, wood preservatives, and as a component in some types of glass. It is also used in certain medicines, but only under strict regulation and for very specific treatments. The story of arsenic is a stark reminder of how little we once knew and how much we have learned. A deadly mistake, arsenic, once a health tonic, is now known for its true nature. From a supposed miracle cure to a recognized killer, the history of arsenic is a fascinating tale of misconception, discovery, and the continuous quest for knowledge. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a wonder of the ancient world, once shone brightly under the sun. Picture this, not as the tan, weathered structure we know today, but a gleaming, radiant monument, its polished white limestone casing stones reflecting the Egyptian sun with a brilliance that could be seen from miles away. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the oldest and largest of the three pyramids in the Giza Pyramid Complex, was originally built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, around 2600 BC. But it wasn't just an ordinary tomb. Its grandeur and intricacy have left historians and archaeologists in awe for centuries. The pyramid was constructed with over 2 million blocks of stone, each weighing more than 2 tons. But what made it truly shine was the casing of white limestone. These casing stones, cut with astonishing precision, were polished to a high sheen, creating a luminous spectacle that dazzled the eyes of all who beheld it. Imagine the sight, a shining pyramid gleaming like a colossal jewel under the desert sun. It would have been a sight to behold, a testament to the grandeur and prowess of the ancient Egyptians. Over time, however, the pyramid lost its shine. The casing stones were removed, repurposed by later civilizations to build their own structures. The once sparkling pyramid was left bare and weathered by time and elements, turning into the familiar image we recognize today. Yet even with its casing stones gone, the Great Pyramid of Giza continues to inspire awe and wonder. Its sheer size, its intricate design, and the mystery of how it was built with such precision, using the tools and technology of the time, continue to baffle modern scientists and engineers. The Great Pyramid of Giza, once a shining beacon of the ancient world, stands today as a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring prowess of an ancient civilization. It is a symbol of mankind's desire to reach for the heavens and leave a mark for eternity. It is a reminder of our past, a beacon of our history, and a monument to our collective human spirit. And so the Great Pyramid of Giza, once resplendent in its polished limestone casing, may not shine as it once did under the desert sun, but it continues to shine in our imagination and our collective memory, a testament to human ingenuity. The Great Pyramid of Giza, once a shining beacon of the ancient world. 1815, a year remembered not for what it had, but for what it lacked, a summer. In this year, humanity witnessed a unique and chilling phenomenon, a stark reminder of our planet's volatile nature. Nestled in the Indonesian archipelago, Mount Tambora erupted in April 1815 with a force so tremendous it changed the world's climate. This was not just an ordinary eruption. No, it was the most powerful volcanic eruption in recorded human history. And its effects? They were felt all over the globe. The colossal amount of ash and sulfuric aerosols that Mount Tambora spewed into the stratosphere dimmed the sunlight reaching the Earth's surface. This caused a significant drop in global temperatures. The result was a year unlike any other. A year without a summer. Can you imagine waking up in June or July to find frost covering the ground, snow falling in August, or enduring incessant rain that never seemed to end? That's exactly what happened in 1816. In places like New England and Europe, summer simply never arrived. Crops failed, food shortages ensued, and people starved. The price of grain skyrocketed, and the bread, a staple food for many, became a luxury few could afford. Animals weren't spared either. Without crops to feed on, livestock perished. The scarcity of food and the unending cold led to what historians call the last great subsistence crisis in the Western world. This dreadful year also inspired art and literature. Mary Shelley, trapped inside by the continuous rain, wrote her famous novel Frankenstein during this gloomy period. The year without a summer, as it came to be known, was a grim reminder of how interconnected everything on this planet is. A volcanic eruption half a world away can starve populations, disrupt societies, and change the course of history. It's a testament of how a single natural event can drastically alter the Earth's climate and affect all life on it. A year without a summer, a reminder of how nature's fury can disrupt the delicate balance of life. Did you know about the Great Emu War of 1932? This curious piece of history is not some concoction of a bored mind, but a genuine clash that took place in the vast expanses of Australia. Picture this vivid scene: soldiers armed to their teeth, not facing against a traditional enemy, but against creatures of a different kind, large flightless birds. Indeed, you have heard that correctly. The Australian military, an institution renowned for its discipline and valor, was summoned to face a task so unusual that it remains etched in history books. The task of dealing with a flock of emus that were causing chaos in the Western Australian region. These emus, originally inhabitants of the coastal regions, had migrated inland in desperate search of water and nourishment. Their quest for survival led them to the lush green farmlands of Australia, wherein they found a bounty of ripe wheat crops. These lands, painstakingly cultivated by the Australian farmers, became an open feast for the emus, leading to widespread havoc. The Australian farmers, who had invested blood and sweat into their crops, watched helplessly as the emus feasted on their hard work. The wheat crops, which were to be their livelihood, were now being rapidly consumed by these unexpected invaders. The farmers, unable to protect their lands single-handedly, voiced their desperation and beseeched for aid. Their pleas did not go unheard. In response to their distress calls, the Australian government took the decision to deploy the military, armed with machine guns, to handle the emu crisis. The military, a force trained to fight human enemies, now found themselves pitted against nature's creations. The emus, unassuming in their appearance, were agile and fast. Their swift movements, coupled with their unpredictability, proved to be a formidable challenge for the soldiers. The military, trained for combat and not animal control, found themselves in a predicament they were unprepared for. Despite the valiant efforts of the soldiers who utilized their training to their best, the emus continued their rampant destruction. The military chased the elusive birds through fields and plains, but the emus, adapted to survive in the wild, easily evaded their human adversaries. The operation, started with high hopes and a determined resolve, was slowly losing its momentum. The Australian military, known for their strategic prowess, was bewildered by the agility and resolve of these flightless birds. The emus, oblivious to the human constructs of territory and property, continued their quest for food, unbothered by the attempts to curtail them. The military operation, initially expected to be a swift resolution to the crisis, was gradually proving to be ineffective. The emus, once considered as mere nuisances, were now being seen as formidable adversaries. Despite the relentless pursuit, the emus remained undeterred. The soldiers chased, fired, and strategized, but the emus, driven by instinct and survival, were not to be tamed. Each day brought new challenges for the military as they struggled to contain the escalating crisis. The operation was not going as expected, and the emus seemed to be winning this odd battle. Finally, the military, in the face of the emus' indomitable spirit and the operation's failures, made the decision to withdraw. The emus, left to roam the fields once again, had proven that they were indeed a force to be reckoned with. So it turns out emus were tougher opponents than expected. Ever wondered about the shortest war in history? Sit back and let me take you on a riveting journey, a deep dive into an intriguing chapter of our past. It's a tale woven around the shortest recorded conflict in human history, one that was over almost as soon as it began. Let's set the stage. The year is 1896. The entire world is on the brink of a new century, one that would see tremendous changes both on the socio-political and technological fronts. But for now, we are still in the throes of the 19th century, a time of empires and colonizers, of kings and sultans. Picture a world map from this time. The British Empire, a robust, blooming entity, stretches out over various continents, a manifestation of its status as a global superpower. Contrast this with the Sultanate of Zanzibar, a small blip on our imaginary map, an island nation situated off the coast of East Africa. The world was a chessboard, and the players were empires, colonies, and nations, all vying for power, influence, and land. In this grand scheme of things, the British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar found themselves at odds. The point of contention, a dispute not over territory, resources, or trade, but over something equally potent, the right to the Zanzibari throne following the death of the incumbent sultan. Zanzibar, though small, was a gem in the eyes of the British Empire. It was a hub of trade, rich with spices, ivory, and slaves, situated in a strategic location that allowed easy access to the African mainland. Thus, when the Sultan passed away, leaving a power vacuum, the British were quick to step in. They had a favored candidate, one they believed would uphold their interests. However, the British ultimatum was ignored. The Zanzibaris chose their own sultan, one that did not fit into the plans of the empire. Tensions escalated and diplomacy fell by the wayside. The clock was ticking. At 9:02 a.m., the stage was set for a historic showdown. The Anglo-Zanzibar War had begun. An intense bombardment ensued, with the British Empire's superior firepower proving too much for the small island nation. Cannon fire filled the air, smoke clouded the skies, and the once grand sultan's palace was quickly reduced to a pile of charred rubble. The Zanzibaris fought valiantly, but the outcome was inevitable, the imbalance of power too great. By 9:40 a.m., it was over. The Sultan's palace lay in ruins, the British had asserted their dominance, and the war was over. In the grand scheme of history, it was but a blip, a war that lasted then 38 minutes. The shortest war in history was a testament to the world at that time, a historical footnote that exemplified the might of empires, the fragility of sultanates, and the complexities of diplomatic relations. And yet, it is also a testament to the human spirit, the desire for self-determination, and the lengths people will go to defend their homeland. And so, we come to the end of our tale, a snapshot of a moment that has since faded into the annals of history. But it's a moment remembering, a story worth telling. For in it we see reflections of our past and hints of our present. Just 38 minutes had passed. That's less time than some of us spend in the shower. Did you know about Cleopatra's surprising connection to the moon landing? It's a question that might cause intrigue, curiosity, or for some, even disbelief. We tend to think of the past as a single unified entity, a vast stretch of time extending from the dawn of human civilization to the present day. But the truth is far more complex. Our perception of history is often heavily skewed by our limited human lifespan and our inability to comprehend the sheer scale of time. Let's delve deeper into this intriguing concept by discussing one of the most iconic figures in human history, Cleopatra. The last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, Cleopatra is a figure shrouded in mystery, exoticism, and allure. Images of her have been etched into our collective consciousness, painted by literature, cinema, and countless historical accounts. We think of her as an ancient entity, a distant figure separated from us by a chasm of time that seems almost unfathomable. But here's a thought that might challenge your understanding of time. Cleopatra actually lived closer in time to the first moon than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yes, you heard that right. The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, was built around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra's reign ended in 30 BC. This puts over 2,500 years between Cleopatra and the Great Pyramid. That's an expanse of time longer than the entire span of recorded history since the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Now consider this. The first moon landing took place in 1969 AD, which is less than 2,000 years after Cleopatra's time. It's a little over 1,900 years, to be exact. If you think about it, that's closer to us in time than many events we consider recent in the grand scheme of history. The founding of the United States, the discovery of the New World, even the birth of Christ, all these occurred further back in time than Cleopatra's reign from the moon landing. Isn't that a fascinating thought? It's a potent reminder that history is not a linear progression, but a complex tapestry of overlapping timelines. It's a testament to the fact that humanity's story, from the construction of the pyramids to the exploration of space, is a relatively short chapter in the grand book of Cosmos. It also shows us that our historical perspective is heavily shaped by the narratives we choose to focus on and the way we frame the passage of time. It's mind-blowing to a woman who walked the earth, when the pyramids were already ancient relics, also lived in a time closer to us landing on the moon than the construction of those same pyramids. In a way, it compresses our understanding of time, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern world, between humanity's first architectural marvels and our first steps into the daunting expanse of space. So the next you look up at the night sky and see the moon shining down on you, remember this astonishing detail. Remember that the time between Cleopatra and that moon landing is less than the time between Cleopatra and the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's a mischievous play of time, a quirk of history that challenges our perception and reminds us of the intriguing complexities of the past. As we ponder on this, it underlines an important point, that the study of history is as much about understanding the relationships between different periods as it is about studying the periods themselves. It underscores the importance of perspective, of looking at the past not as a flat two-dimensional entity, but as a multifaceted, multidimensional continuum. In conclusion, this seemingly simple fact about Cleopatra and the moon landing is not just an intriguing piece of trivia, it's a lens through which we can view our own place in history, a way of putting human timeline into a unique perspective. As we continue to explore the depths of history and the mysteries of time, let's remember this. It's all about perspective, isn't it? Did you know about the gold medals at the 1904 Olympic Games? This simple question opens up a treasure of stories that takes us back to the history of the acclaimed international sports event, the Olympic Games. Let us attempt to peel back layers of history, layer by layer, with each peel representing a year, a decade, a century. We will journey back to a time when the world was a different place, to the early 20th century. Picture it, the year is 1904. We are stepping into a time machine, dialing back the years, as we prepare to embark on this journey that will take us more than 100 years into the past. Our destination is the illustrious stage of the third modern Olympic Games, a grand event that captured the global attention. These games were not just a sporting event, they were a celebration of human spirit and sportsmanship, held in the heart of America, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, a city known for its unique confluence of culture, history, and modernity, became the center of the attention as it hosted the grandest spectacle of sports. Now picture the scene. Athletes from all over the world, their eyes gleaming with the fire of ambition, their hearts filled with anticipation, the crowd a sea of heads and fluttering national flags, producing a thunderous applause that echoed in every corner of the city. The atmosphere was electric, filled with pure competition, camaraderie, and sportsmanship. The air was thick with anticipation, every breath held, every eye fixated on the athletes, the true heroes of this grand spectacle. Yet, there was something exceptionally unique about these games, something that added an extra sparkle to the event, a distinct detail that made these games glitter in the annals of Olympic history. This unique aspect was the gold medals. Now you might be thinking, what's so unique about gold medals at the Olympic Games? Well, the answer lies in the composition of these medals. You see, during the 1904 Olympic Games, the gold medals awarded to the champions were not just symbolic representations of victory, they were the epitome of real tangible wealth. They were in fact made of solid gold. Yes, you heard that correctly, solid gold. Such was the grandeur of the 1904 Olympic Games that the champions were bestowed with not just honor and glory, but also a piece of precious metal that symbolized their victory and achievement. This was a tradition that, albeit brief, had a significant impact on the history of Olympic Games. It was a tradition that sadly did not last long due to the high cost and rarity of the precious metal. Over time, the solid gold medals were replaced gold-plated silver medals, a change driven by practical considerations. Nevertheless, the tradition of awarding gold medals continues to this day, with the only difference being that the current gold medals are primarily composed of silver, coated with a thin layer of pure gold. Despite the change in tradition, the charm and allure of the gold medals remain undeterred. They continue to symbolize the highest honor in international sports, a testament to an athlete's dedication, hard work, and sportsmanship. Even though the composition has changed, the value of the gold medals is not just about the precious metal they contain, but also about the sweat, blood, and tears of the athletes who strive to win them. So they were truly golden times, the Olympic winners back then. The gold medals of the 1904 Olympic Games serve as a reminder of a time when the Olympic champions were truly rewarded with the worth of their achievements, a piece of history that continues to sparkle with the glint of solid gold. What a journey through time and fascinating facts we've had today. Our voyage started off in the rugged landscapes of Australia, where we unfolded the peculiar narrative of the Great Emu War of 1932. This was not just a mere conflict we heard about in passing, but a full-fledged war where soldiers, equipped with their traditional war regalia, were sent into battle against these large, flightless birds. The emus, majestic in their own right, were seen as opponents in a battle that would later go down as one of the most unexpected historical events on, as strange as it may seem, the emus emerged victorious, sending waves of astonishment worldwide. This outcome is a testament to the unpredictability of nature, unveiling the hidden strength and resilience that lies within creatures we often underestimate. It's a stark reminder that humans are not always the dominant species, and how nature, in all its unassuming elements, can surprise us. In the wake of our Australian adventure, we set our sights towards the African continent, specifically to the island of Zanzibar. We delved deep into the narrative of the shortest war in recorded history, a swift 38-minute conflict that occurred between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. This conflict, brief as it was, revealed the volatility of international relations, marking its place in the annals of history with its brevity. It laid bare the reality of how rapid and decisive conflicts can be, imprinted eternally in history within mere moments. The impact of this war, although short, was decisive, and marked a turning point in relations between these nations. As journeyed through the chronicles of time, our next destination was Egypt, a country frozen in time, yet evolving. We leap back to the era of Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. As grand as her reign was, what perhaps intrigued us the most was the fact that she lived closer in time to the first moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. This fact unravels the web of our perception of time, how it is often skewed by our understanding of history. It reminds us that the timelines we create in our minds often blur the actual chronology of events, creating a distorted view of what truly transpired. Next on our historical journey was the 1904 Olympic Games, a landmark event that showcased human athleticism and determination. Athletes from around the globe competed for the ultimate honor, a gold medal made of solid gold. Today, such an award would be considered an unimaginable luxury, adding an extra layer of prestige to the accomplishments of these early Olympians. Each of these medals symbolizes more than just a victory in a game or competition. They signify the culmination of hard work, commitment, and the will to strive for excellence. Each of these facts, as whimsical or startling as they may be, are reminders of the diversity and of our history, brimming with stories waiting to be told. They highlight the breadth of human experience, ranging from the absurd to the profound, from the tragic to the triumphant. They invite us to question our preconceived notions, to explore the realms of the unknown, and to understand the complexity of our world from a broader perspective. As we draw our journey to a close, we must remember that the facts we've discussed today are but tiny fragments of our vast historical tapestry. Each fragment represents a story, a moment, an event that has shaped our world in some way. Whether it's a war fought against emus, a conflict that lasted mere minutes, a queen closer to space exploration than pyramid construction, or athletes competing for gold medals, these pieces of history are surprising, enlightening, and above all, memorable. History is a veritable treasure trove of surprises, isn't it? A constant source of learning, it invites us to delve deep into its depth, unraveling the mysteries of the past as we go. Stay curious, keep learning, and you'll find that the journey through history is an adventure like no other. Until next time, keep the spirit of exploration alive, and you'll never cease to be amazed. History is full of surprises, isn't it? Stay curious and you'll never stop learning. Until next time. Ever heard of a dancing plague? Well, fasten your seatbelts. We're about to take a step back into the year 1518. In the city of Strasbourg, located in the region of Alsace, a bizarre event unfolded that would baffle historians for centuries to come. The dancing plague of 1518 wasn't your typical outbreak. No infectious disease, no widespread panic, but a peculiar case of dancing mania that gripped the city. Around 400 people found themselves in an uncontrollable urge to dance. The strangest part? This wasn't a one-off event. These people took to dancing for days without rest. The city's streets became an open-air stage where the inhabitants danced with abandon, seemingly possessed by an invisible force. As the days turned into weeks, the dancing didn't cease. The spectacle continued for about a month, the dancers trapped in a relentless rhythm that seemed to have a life of its own. Now you might be thinking, what's the harm in a little dancing? Well, this was no harmless jig. The relentless, non-stop dancing took a toll on the health of the dancers. Some of those affected started to collapse. They were not just falling from exhaustion or from the sheer physical strain. They were dying. Heart attacks, strokes, sheer exhaustion. The dancing plague was claiming lives. The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most bizarre events. Despite numerous theories, the cause of this dancing mania is still unknown. Was it mass hysteria, a religious cult, a case of ergot poisoning? The answers remain elusive. This event serves as a reminder of the strange and inexplicable incidents that dot our history, leaving us with more questions than answers. Talk about dancing till you drop. This historical event certainly puts a new spin on the phrase. It's a stark reminder of the unpredictability and mystery that history often presents us with. Until our next historical deep dive, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, history is not always as it seems. Our next stop on this historical journey takes us to Boston, Massachusetts, in the year 1919. But don't expect a tea party this time. Instead, we're about to uncover a sweet disaster, quite literally. Welcome to the Great Molasses Flood, also known as the Boston Molasses Disaster. On January 15, 1919, a large molasses storage tank in the North End neighborhood of Boston burst. But this wasn't a small leak that you could plug with a finger. This was an explosion that resulted in a wave of molasses rushing through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour. Imagine a tsunami of sticky sweetness engulfing everything in its path. The wave was so powerful that it damaged buildings, overturned vehicles, and even knocked the elevated train off its tracks. But this was no sugary dream. The molasses flood was a deadly disaster. The sweet wave claimed 21 lives and left 150 injured. Rescue efforts were hindered by the sticky substance, making it difficult for help to reach those trapped in the molasses. The cleanup took weeks, and the city remained sticky for months, with everything from public transit seats to telephone booths covered in a sweet, sticky residue. This bizarre event serves as a reminder of the unexpected turns history can take. Who would have thought a storage tank could cause such a disaster? The Great Molasses Flood, an event so strange yet so catastrophic. It sticks in our memory, quite like the molasses itself. A sticky situation indeed. As we delve deeper into our historical journey, remember, history is full of surprises. So until our next historical deep dive, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, history is not just about dates and battles. It's also about the strange, sweet, and sticky events that make it so fascinating. Imagine a year without summer. Sounds like a dream for those who despise the heat, doesn't it? But let's delve into our next historical event, known as the Year Without a Summer. The year 1816 is remembered for this peculiar phenomenon. Severe climate abnormalities caused average global temperatures to plummet by 0.7 degrees Celsius. But this wasn't just a year of extended winter holidays. The consequences were far more severe. This abrupt climate change resulted in major food shortages across the northern hemisphere. Crops failed, livestock died, and the prices of grains skyrocketed. This led to malnutrition, starvation, and a surge in diseases. The cause? The eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia in April 1815, one of the most powerful in recorded history. It spewed enormous amounts of volcanic ash into the upper atmosphere, blocking sunlight and causing global temperatures to drop. The effects were felt worldwide. In North America and Europe, snowfalls and frost occurred in the middle of summer. In China, there was a massive disruption in the monsoon season. And in India, the delayed monsoon led to a widespread outbreak of cholera that spread across the globe. So next time you complain about the summer heat, remember the year 1816, the year without a summer, and the hardships it brought upon the world. Makes you appreciate those sunny days, doesn't it? As we continue on this historical journey, we're reminded of the power of nature and its impact on our lives. So, until our next historical deep dive, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, history isn't just about famous people and wars, it's also about the strange and powerful forces that shape our world. Did you know that carrots were originally purple? Or that wild carrots, unlike their domesticated counterparts, are often toxic? Yes, something as ordinary as the color of our vegetables has a fascinating history, laden with unexpected facts. Let's embark on a journey through time and space. Picture this, it's the 10th century, and you're in the heart of Persia, a place of mystique and intrigue. You're walking through the bustling markets amidst the crowd, your senses overwhelmed with the amalgamation of different scents and sounds. The air is thick with the enticing aroma of spices and the shouts of merchants peddling their wares. As you meander through the maze of stalls, your eyes are drawn to a vegetable that looks oddly familiar. It's long, it's slender, and it has the unique tapered form with a root vegetable. But there's a surprise twist. It's not the familiar orange, but a striking shade of purple. Yes, you guessed it right. It's a carrot, but not as we know it today. Fast forward to the present. The good old friend, the carrot, wasn't always the vibrant orange we associate it with today. In fact, it was a striking shade of purple, white, or even yellow. And here's another mind-boggling fact. Carrots were first cultivated for their aromatic leaves and seeds. Seeds, not their roots. Yes, imagine that. A rainbow assortment of carrots, each with its own distinct flavor and texture. So, how did we end up with the orange variety that we find in our grocery stores today? To answer that question, we need to travel to the 17th century, and more specifically, to the Netherlands, the land of windmills tulips. It's a time of great agricultural innovation. And the Dutch are at the forefront of this transformation. They were the ones who took the humble carrot and transformed it into the orange powerhouse we know today. But why would they do that? The reasons are as fascinating as they are varied. Some suggest that the Dutch cultivated the orange carrot as a tribute to William of Orange, who led the struggle for Dutch independence. A vegetable as a symbol of national pride. Whether that's true or not, we can't be sure. But here's another astonishing fact. Carrots have been used as a substitute for sugar in times of scarcity due to their natural sweetness. However, this change in color wasn't merely cosmetic, it had a significant impact on the carrot's popularity. The orange carrot was easier to grow and store than the previous one, which further elevated its status among farmers and gardeners. It quickly spread across Europe and eventually the world, replacing the purple variety in fields and markets. The transformation of the carrot from a purple Persian oddity to an orange staple of our diets is a testament to the power of agricultural innovation and the influence of culture on our food choices. Here's something you might find peculiar. In ancient times, carrots were used for medicinal purposes, especially for treating digestive issues and snake bites. So the next time you bite into a carrot, remember its fascinating journey from a purple Persian delicacy to an orange staple of our diets. Remember the hands that have sowed and harvested it, the cultures that have embraced, and the generations that have savored its sweet crunch. Time you crunch into a carrot, remember its royal purple past and its incredible tales that sound stranger than fiction. Ever marveled at the grandeur of the Great Pyramids? Brace yourself for a thrilling journey into this wondrous site's fascinating history. The Great Pyramids of Egypt aren't just colossal structures, they are awe-inspiring testimonials of a captivating past, standing tall and proud for over 4,000 years. These indomitable monuments, the pyramids, are an enduring testimony to the genius and inventiveness of the ancient world, to a civilization that was far ahead of its time. Did you know the Great Pyramid of Giza is the only ancient wonder that still exists, outliving the other six? These incredible structures, meticulously crafted with an intricate design and an attention to detail that is almost unfathomable, continue to elicit admiration and wonder even in this era of advanced technology. Built with such precision and finesse, the pyramids are an architect's dream and a historian's treasure trove. Here's another fascinating fact. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, until the completion of Lincoln Cathedral in England in the 14th century. Not only are the pyramids a tribute to the grandiosity of ancient Egyptian architecture, but they are also an enduring mystery that has puzzled and fascinated mankind for centuries. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest among them, is an extraordinary example of architectural brilliance. It's a marvel of ancient engineering, a testament to the audacity and ingenuity of the human mind. Here's a startling fact. The pyramid was originally covered by casing stones that formed a smooth outer surface, and what is seen today is the underlying core structure. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. These pyramids were constructed with an accuracy that is almost unimaginable. The four sides of the base have an average error of just 58 millimeters in length. That's less than the length of your little finger. This level of precision is mind-boggling. It's nothing short of a miracle, especially when you consider the technological constraints of that time. Another little-known fact that's bound to surprise you. The pyramid's not true north-south aligned, but deviate from the true north by just 3/60th of a degree. The ancient Egyptians didn't have the luxury of the technology we possess today. They didn't have cranes to lift these massive stones. They didn't have bulldozers to clear the path. They didn't have modern surveying tools to measure the distances and angles. They didn't have computers to calculate the dimensions or lasers to guide their work. Yet somehow they managed to build something so magnificent, so precise, that we, with all our technological advancements and scientific knowledge, would be hard-pressed to duplicate their achievement. It's a testament to their sheer will, their ingenuity, their determination, and their remarkable understanding of geometry and astronomy. So how did they do it? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the truth is, we're still not entirely sure. Theories abound, of course. Some suggest advanced mathematics and astronomy. Others propose the use of simple but effective tools and a whole lot of manpower. Some even suggest the assistance of extraterrestrial beings. Coming to the most famous mystery associated with the pyramids, the curse of the pharaohs. It's believed that anyone who disturbs the mummy of a pharaoh is placed under a curse, which does not spare anyone, irrespective of their intent. The truth is, we can only speculate, hypothesize, and marvel at the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians, but the exact method they used to construct these awe-inspiring structures remains a mystery. The pyramids truly remind us that sometimes the past holds mysteries we've yet to unravel. The Titanic was a marvel of engineering, but did you know that it carried 20,000 bottles of beer on board, enough to quench the thirst of its passengers for over 2.5 years? The Titanic was much more than just a ship. It was a masterpiece of human ingenuity, an embodiment of mankind's limitless ambition and ceaseless desire for progress. It was indeed the dream of a new age come true, a striking testament to the audacious spirit of the 20th century. In addition to its vast beer stores, the Titanic was also home to some unexpected residents. Records show that there were 12 dogs on board, including a pair of Airedale Terriers and a King Charles Spaniel. With amenities such as a swimming pool and 2 barbers, it's no wonder it was often compared to a luxury hotel rather than a ship. The meticulous detailing that went into the design of the Titanic was truly astounding. From the gold-plated fixtures in the smoking room to the woodwork in the first-class suites, no expense was spared. In fact, the grand staircase, made from solid English oak, was inspired by the design in the French Palace of Versailles, and the ship's 4 elevators, a rarity at the time, were a testament to the luxuries on offer. But the Titanic was not just about luxury cabins and grand dining halls, it was also about providing an unforgettable experience of leisure and pleasure. Did you know the ship even had its own newspaper, the Atlantic Daily Bulletin, printed every day with the latest news and stock prices? The Titanic was a celebration of human achievement, a party at sea. Interestingly, it was also the first ship to have a heated swimming pool. The ship was meant to serve as a symbol of an era that was marked by opulence and grandeur. The Titanic's story is not just one of grandeur and extravagance. It is also a story of ambition and hubris, of a dream that turned into a nightmare. Did you know that the iceberg that sank the Titanic was spotted just 37 seconds before the collision? A stark reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the fragility of human life. Perhaps the Titanic was destined to be a party at sea that never saw the light of day. Indeed, the Titanic story is a sobering reminder of the thin line between mankind's dreams of grandeur and the harsh reality of nature's caprice. In fact, the final song played by the band as the ship sank was reportedly "Nearer, My God, to Thee," a poignant end to a grand dream. The legacy of the Titanic continues to endure, a century after its ill-fated voyage. It remains a symbol of an era marked by ambition, progress, and grandeur. Today, it continues to captivate us, with its artifacts fetching high prices at auctions. A menu from the last lunch served on the ship fetched $88,000 in 2012. Perhaps the Titanic was destined to be a party at sea that never saw the light of day? Speaking of the Titanic, meet Charles Joughin, the man who survived the sinking due to his intoxication and his extraordinary ability to float. Now, this is a captivating one. Let's step back in time. Picture yourself in the early 20th century. The year is 19. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing, and the age we live in today is still in its infancy. Titanic, a ship celebrated as the pinnacle of human ingenuity, a symbol of opulence, power, and technological prowess, is about to sail on its inaugural journey. This ship is a breathtaking sight, a wonder of engineering, a titan made of steel and steam. Her name, Titanic, is an ode to her magnificence. She is claimed to be unsinkable, a catchphrase that tragically and ironically would soon prove disastrously false. On a doomed night, this majestic liner strikes an iceberg, a catastrophe that would confirm her destiny and etch her name indefinitely in the chronicles of history. The once sturdy and invincible Titanic begins its descent into the icy, merciless abyss of the Atlantic Ocean. Aboard this ill-starred ship is a man named Charles Joughin. A commoner amidst the elite isn't merely a passenger, he's the head baker, a role of pivotal significance on a ship ferrying more than 2,000 travelers and crew members. He is the unsung hero given an essential duty to ensure the crowd on board is well fed during their voyage. It's a hefty task, but Charles is prepared for the challenge. Interestingly, Charles wasn't merely proficient at kneading dough and baking bread. He possessed another, somewhat odd talent. He was extraordinarily good at holding his liquor. On the night Titanic met its fate, Charles was, to put it mildly, heavily inebriated. He'd been drinking, and not merely a customary beer or two. Charles had indulged in an ample amount of spirits, a habit that, though generally frowned upon, might have been his saving grace that night. Let's be clear, this isn't a story glorifying alcohol or endorsing its use. Instead, it's a narrative of remarkable survival, a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit and a weird twist of fortune. As the ship surrendered to the icy waters, Charles reportedly remained composed. He assisted with the lifeboats, ensuring women and children were safely evacuated first, embodying the timeless maritime tradition of women and children first. Then, astoundingly, instead of capitulating to terror and pandemonium like many others, he quietly disembarked the sinking ship and plunged into the icy waters. The water was so frosty it could induce hypothermia within moments, but our baker was built of tougher material. Charles spent a reported 2 hours in the freezing ocean before he was eventually rescued. 2 hours. It's a duration that seems unimaginable to survive under such brutal conditions, but Charles did it. Doctors and scientists speculate the alcohol in his system could have contributed to his survival. Alcohol causes blood vessels to enlarge, augmenting blood flow to the skin, which can induce a sensation of warmth and potentially delay the onset of hypothermia. This physiological effect, in tandem with Charles's steadfastness and will to survive, might have been key to his survival. It's worth noting, though, was also an extraordinarily good swimmer, a fact that certainly played a part in his survival. In fact, Charles wasn't just an excellent swimmer, he was also known to be quite buoyant, a trait that undoubtedly came in handy that fateful night. But remember, this was a unique scenario, a blend of luck, human spirit, and perhaps the effects of alcohol. We're not suggesting that getting intoxicated should be a strategy for survival. That would be hazardous and irresponsible. However, it's an intriguing fact to contemplate that in Charles Joughin's case, his fondness for alcohol may have played a role in his survival. So there you have it, one of the most peculiar and captivating survival stories ever. The tale of a man who confronted the unimaginable, who looked death straight in the eye, and against all odds, emerged alive. His survival serves as a reminder that sometimes, just sometimes, a bit of luck, excellent swimming, and a lot of beer can indeed make you unsinkable. Sometimes a bit of luck, great swimming skills, and a lot of beer can make you unsinkable. In 1908, an enigmatic explosion in Siberia leveled an astounding 80 million trees. What could have ignited such unimaginable devastation? This riddle is widely acknowledged as the Tunguska event, an episode so peculiar and unsettling that it has captured the interest of scientists, researchers, and the public alike for over a century. Its mystery has become a durable enigma that has bewildered those seeking answers in the endless expanse of the cosmos and the confines of our planet. This extraordinary event beckons us to delve into its puzzling yet captivating details. On the fateful morning of June 30th, 1908, the tranquility of the Siberian wilderness near the Tunguska was ruptured by an enormous explosion. The magnitude of the blast was so immense that it was palpably felt hundreds of miles away from the epicenter. Intriguingly, the seismic shock waves from the explosion were detected even as far away as the United Kingdom. This gives us a glimpse into the immense power that this event loosed upon the Earth. As the shock wave radiated from the epicenter, it blazed its devastating path across the landscape. The wave of calamity flattened an area of forest equivalent to the size of a significant city, In fact, the destruction caused was 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima in World War II. This site stands as a monument to the profound potency of the event. Adding to the intrigue and intensifying the mystery is the conspicuous absence of a crater at the epicenter of the event. The lack of this typical sign of an impact has only heightened the mystery of the Tunguska event, sparking debates and theories about the cause of this peculiar incident. If it was a meteorite, as some leading theories have proposed, where was the physical proof? Furthermore, during the following nights after the explosion, it was reported that glowed brightly enough to read a newspaper in the dark. This lingering luminescence was seen as far away as Europe. Where were the meteorite fragments that should have been left behind in the wake of such a happening? The puzzling absence of such evidence has haunted scientists and led to the formulation of a variety of theories to explain this non-traditional incident. Some theories propose that a comet or meteorite exploded in the Earth's atmosphere, inflicting the extensive damage seen on the ground, but leaving no discernible physical evidence behind. The explosion in the atmosphere would have incinerated the comet or meteorite, explaining the lack of remains. Others have suggested that a mini black hole might have passed through Earth, causing the explosion. This theory, although less conventional, has been considered by physicists given the lack of physical evidence and the magnitude of the explosion. Another intriguing theory is that a chunk of antimatter from space might have incited the explosion. If a chunk of antimatter interacted with the matter of the Earth, it would cause a colossal, potentially explaining the Tunguska event. The most fringe theories even propose an extraterrestrial craft may have crash-landed, causing the explosion. Although this theory is less acknowledged by the scientific community, it nonetheless adds to the allure and intrigue of the Tunguska event. Despite these fascinating theories, we have yet to find a definitive answer. Even after numerous expeditions and extensive studies conducted in the region, the Tunguska event continues to confound researchers. The lack of physical evidence, the magnitude of the impact, and the mystery surrounding what could have triggered such an event all contribute to making it one of the greatest enigmas in our history. The Tunguska event is not just a historical incident, it's a reminder of the profound mysteries our planet conceals. It's a testament to the fact that despite our significant advancements in science and technology, there are still phenomena that leave us questioning, pondering, and in awe of the universe we inhabit. It underscores the infinite depth of the cosmos and the boundless enigmas it embodies. It encourages us as inhabitants of this cosmos to reassess our understanding of the universe and its mysteries. The Tunguska event, with its enduring enigma, continues to captivate the imagination of all who encounter its tale. The Tunguska event persists as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our... We've reached our intriguing final fact, one that may truly boggle your mind. Did you know that in 1962, the United States, a superpower renowned for its technological prowess, ventured boldly where no one had before? They launched and detonated a hydrogen bomb in the vast, unexplored expanse of space, a feat that seems torn from the pages of a science fiction novel or a Hollywood blockbuster. But this was no flight of fancy. This was a genuine, real-life event, a striking footnote in our intricate and diverse history. This monumental event is known as the Starfish Prime test, a name that may sound innocent, but underpins an event of profound scientific and military significance. Here's an additional surprising fact. The backdrop to this event was the Cold War, a time of high political tension and military jousting between the world's two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Each country sought to outdo the other, to prove their scientific and military capabilities were unrivaled. The Starfish Prime test wasn't just a standalone feat, but part of a larger venture, a series of tests and experiments that fell under the umbrella of Operation Fishbowl. Now, here's a captivating detail. Operation Fishbowl, in turn, was merely a slice of the vastly larger Operation Dominic. These were a series of high-altitude nuclear tests, top-secret projects orchestrated by the U.S. government to unravel the mysteries of nuclear technology. Unearthing another astonishing fact, the hydrogen bomb that was detonated was 100 times more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima during World War II. The detonation took place at an altitude of nearly 250 miles above the Pacific Ocean, a distance so enormous that it's challenging to comprehend. But the ripple effect of this explosion wasn't just confined to its visual spectacle. The detonation created an artificial radiation belt around the Earth, disrupting a number of satellites in orbit. This drastic impact on satellites significantly affected telecommunications worldwide, leading to a global debate about the militarization of space. In the aftermath, the Starfish Prime test played a decisive role in structuring international space treaties and policies. Notably, it led to the signing of the Outer Space Treaty in 1967, a significant agreement that prohibits the placement of nuclear weapons in space. A final intriguing fact: the light show created by the explosion was visible from thousands of miles away, from the idyllic shores of Hawaii to the breathtaking landscapes of New Zealand. This single event encapsulates humanity's potential for both destruction and discovery. It serves as a potent reminder of our ability to harness exceptional power and the importance of employing such power judiciously. We've journeyed through history and unearthed some truly mind-boggling facts. Let's take a moment to reflect and add even more fascinating facts to our knowledge vault. Our voyage commenced with the enigmas of the Great Pyramids of Egypt, jaw-dropping structures that stand the last of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Interestingly, did you know that the pyramids were originally covered in polished white limestone? Over time, the stones have been stripped away, revealing the structure we see today. Towering dramatically against the arid desert landscape, these pyramids have captivated human imagination for centuries. Their construction remains a profound mystery, and an interesting fact is that the workers who built the pyramids were not slaves, but paid laborers, a fact that was proven by the discovery of workers' villages near the pyramid site. Next, we delved into the unfortunate story of the Titanic, the so-called unsinkable ship that met a tragic end. A little-known fact is that the Titanic was carrying 12,000 jars of mayonnaise slated for delivery in Mexico. The sinking of the ship not only led to a spectacular maritime disaster, but it also caused the great mayonnaise shortage in Mexico. Among the passengers of the Titanic was a certain man, Charles Joughin, the chief baker aboard the Titanic. His tale is one of survival against all odds. An interesting fact about Joughin is that he was one of the last people to leave the ship, and yet he survived the freezing Atlantic waters, a feat no one else could achieve. Our journey then took us to the remote expanses of Siberia, to the site of the Tunguska event. This unexplained explosion that flattened over 2,000 square kilometers of forest remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. An interesting yet eerie fact about the Tunguska event is that no impact crater was ever found, leading many to believe it was caused by an airburst of a meteoroid. Finally, we concluded with the final fact, an unexpected twist that left us questioning our understanding of history: the Great Emu War of Australia. Yes, you heard it right. In 1932, Australia declared war on emus due to overpopulation and crop destruction. It's fascinatingly strange how history is not just about human conflicts, but sometimes our conflicts with nature as well. History is full of surprises, and every fact we've learned today adds another layer of fascination to our world. From the mysteries of ancient architecture to the resilience of the human spirit, from cosmic events to the unexpected turns of events, these strange facts have shown us that history is anything but boring. It's a tapestry of the unknown, waiting to be unraveled and explored. And with each fact we uncover, we add another thread to this rich tapestry, making it even more intriguing. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through the 100 strangest facts in history, a whirlwind tour through the peculiarities and oddities of the past. This voyage is not one to be easily forgotten. Our exploration started with the bizarre fact about the ancient Egyptians who used to shave their eyebrows off when a beloved pet cat died. It's a wild ride, isn't it? An insight into a culture so vastly different from our own. It's intriguing to see how the death of a pet was mourned just as much as the death of a human. Then came the bit about Napoleon Bonaparte being afraid of cats. Who would have ever imagined a great commander who ruled nations, scared of a creature so small, seemingly harmless? But that's history for you, always filled with unexpected twists and turns. Let's also not forget about that strange fact in which Albert Einstein could have been the President of Israel in 1952, but he declined the offer. Imagine the world-renowned physicist as a country's leader. How different would history be then? We also touched upon the fact that carrots haven't always been orange, a fact that might seem trivial but speaks volumes about the evolution of food. It makes you wonder about how much our and agricultural practices have changed over the years. Did you know the shortest war in history lasted for only 45 minutes? This took place between Britain and Zanzibar on August 27, 1896. A fascinating tidbit surely makes you question what we know about warfare. History is chock full of these oddities and curiosities that ignite our sense and challenge our understanding of what we believe to be true. From the Romans using urine as mouthwash to the Victorian-era trend of taking pictures with the deceased, each discovery is more surprising and perplexing than the last. We even came across the fact that the Eiffel Tower was meant to be a temporary installation, intended to stand for just 20 years, but it still stands tall to this day. The iconic symbol of love was initially hated by the French. Each fact we've shared today is a piece of a puzzle, a testament to the unpredictability of our world. They serve as reminders that reality can be stranger than fiction, that the world we live in a place of infinite intrigue and mystery. Now it's your turn. What do these facts make you think about? Are you baffled, amused, or simply intrigued? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this journey as enthralling as we did, there are plenty more where that came from. Remember to like, share, and for more fascinating content. The world is full of surprises, and we can't wait to explore them with you.